Good day, good morning, good evening. My name is Dr. Aunjuli, and I welcome you to Live in Your Truth Talk, where in 8 minutes or less, we try to help you live in your truth and change your life. Grief, loss. A very, very short word with profound implications. How do we define it? How do we see it? We tend to not talk about grief and loss. We talk about other things in our life, depression, anger. We might talk about things that we're going through with our boyfriend or our girlfriend or our partner. We'll talk about things that are stressful at the job, occupational hazards, many things, but we won't talk about grief and loss. Grief often includes physical distress, separation anxiety, confusion, yearning, sometimes obsessive dwelling, and apprehension about the future. The true definition of grief is a significant loss of someone you care for and love. And I think every single one of us have been impacted in some way or form by grief, especially during the pandemic, where many, many people have passed away. Some of us, we weren't able to attend their funerals, go to the hospital, or even make it in time to say goodbye. Some of us even might have even had COVID, gave it to a loved one, didn't know you did, and maybe they seemed to have been going strong, and then they passed away. Or not even just COVID, maybe just losing someone through cancer, through an accident, through something that horribly happened. No matter how you lost that someone in your life, you still have to deal with the process of grief. Let's talk about that process today and what that process will look like. There are 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. When we're in denial, it helps us to survive the loss. We go numb. The world becomes meaningless. It is a shock. How did this happen? Denial helps you cope and survive the possible when you think you can't. It helps you pace yourself regarding your feelings of your loss. It's almost like a grace period, a time to sort of begin the healing process, but sort of unknowingly doing so. And then you go through anger. This is such an important stage of the healing process. You may not like it, you may not want it, but it's important. Because now you're no longer feeling numb. Now the realization that the person is gone is in your life, and it hurts. And maybe there are feelings underneath that anger, other feelings underneath that anger, but it's there. And that emotion is one of the biggest and most important ones you begin to use to manage the death. And how do you do that? That anger will extend to your friends, to the doctors, your family, the hospital, the nurses, yourself, your loved one, who even died. and most importantly, your higher power or God. It's like feeling lost at sea, and then you get angry. Maybe you're upset with someone who didn't attend the funeral. Maybe you're upset because someone didn't help you through the loss. But at least with anger, there's a structure and there's hope, because you're feeling this intensity of loss of your love, of the person important to you, instead of suppressing it. Then you go to bargaining. This is where you begin to make wishes, or you begin to ask God or your higher power to get you through this loss, or maybe perhaps if you bring this person back, maybe the person is in the hospital, they're in a coma. If you bring them back, I promise that I will go to the congregation for the rest of my life. You will promise to devote yourself to the rest of your life to helping other people if this person, this loved one, is just healed. If only you could have done this. If only you could have done that. It is that dream of bringing that person back into the present if they're gone. Wishing that you could have stopped the accident from happening. Thinking about or imagining what you would have done instead of what you did or didn't do. This is an opportunity in the bargaining stage to remain in the past. But it is part of the process. And it's an important one as well. But once you make it through the bargaining process, you will go through depression. And this can be really, really hard to battle, because it's deep, it's long, it's dark. And although it is important to go through this stage, we have to be mindful of you, or mindful of ourselves, that we don't isolate ourselves and withdraw from the world too much. Withdrawing from the world and isolating ourselves will turn into perhaps thoughts of not wanting to live, suicidal thoughts, hurting others. But you cannot skip this stage. If you start feeling that way, then it's so important for you to reach out for help. Reach out for help in any of the stages, but definitely most importantly this stage. However, depression is the process of healing. It allows you to sit fully and settle with the loss of this person in your soul. And then finally, you go through acceptance. Now, don't confuse acceptance with that you're okay. It will take a long time for you to feel differently or feel better about the loss of your loved one. But acceptance is just the reality that this person is no longer here, and recognizing the new reality, this permanent reality. And once you're able to do that, you will suffer less. It's almost radical acceptance. But it's just acceptance. It's learning to understand, how do you now live without this person in your life? Perhaps we can remain with ourselves on this planet, on this earth, without this person in our lives. It is a hope that by acceptance you will move on and move forward. You will begin meaningful relationships with others, a new interdependence, instead of denying the feelings that you may have. You begin to listen to what your needs are, and you actually begin to ask for help from others. And with that, you will begin to grow and evolve and change. Now, although you go through these 5 stages, you don't actually go through those 5 stages in that order. Sometimes you will go back and forth from denial to depression to bargaining to back and forth until finally acceptance. If you are grieving over a loved one right now and having a very difficult time walking through it, I always say, pick up that phone and call a therapist, a licensed professional who can walk with you through your pain, through your stages and process of grief. My name is Dr. Aunjuli, and we are living in our truth so you can change your life.